Hello, in this tutorial we'll be doing hand-painted sand. This is following on with the hand-painted series that I'm doing at the moment. Don't panic if it's not your thing. I will be going back to other tutorials soon, such as sculpting and modelling and nodes. And this is all part of a much bigger course on gabbit.co.uk, where you can go right through from beginner to advanced levels. And all the courses are free. So let's get straight into it. Here's my reference images. There's not many here, I just wanted a quick reference, make sure I'm on the right lines. I'm going to go for a more goldeny colour that you can see on the bottom right. The main thing I want from this is the waves and how it works. The waves are obviously formed by the light catching one side, and that's how we have to be thinking. So let's start off. I've already got my image set up, so I've got my node editor, I've got my UV image editor with a sand texture in it, and I've already given it a sort of yellowy, slightly orangey colour in fact. I've plugged that in to a diffuse. A diffuse is fine for this. So I'm in texture paint mode here, and I've sampled my main color and it's on my palette. So I'm holding S to sample, get my little color picker, and I've got my color now over here. So there's the base color, and obviously if I paint nothing will happen because it's the same color. Make sure you're on mix, and we want about, let's say, a medium strength brush, and we want a nice soft brush. So on your curve, I'm actually starting to prefer this brush, which has a really sharp point at the end. So remember, this is looking at the side of the brush, sharp point at the end, and a slow fall off. This is the default brush here, which is fine, but I'm starting to prefer this one. For this first bit, I will actually use the default brush, and then I'm going to go across to this one later. So let's get a texture mask. We'll click new there, come over to our textures, and I want a noise texture. So make sure you're on the brush here, and check the name, texture 01 and texture 01. And we want a noise. That's perfect. And now we can go over our image and create lots of noise. I'll just press D for display, and that will get rid of my light and camera. And interestingly, I had a glitch there and it just wasn't painting anything. If that happens, then it's a good idea just to close the program and open it again. It's very rare in Blender, I find, that you get glitches like that, but it just wasn't painting. So I just recreated my texture mask over here. If you have any other problems, you might be that you've put a texture on by mistake. Lots of students do that. They put a new texture here. It's black, so nothing comes out. Close that down. And you might have a different blend mode. You might not be on mix. And then there's obviously things like your strength not being there. But now it's all working. So again, if I paint now, nothing will happen because I've got the same color. So I'm going to change the colors slightly and come across here. And you can see a slight bit of variation now. This is quite subtle, but it's surprising how many different colors you will see in sand. So you want to get lots of variation of saturation, lightness, and darkness in there. And you can see if I zoom in, it's starting to look a bit like sand. I've got it set to random. You can have it untiled, in fact, and that'll be fine. So noise texture doesn't make too much difference like that. And at the moment we just want lots of variation. Not too much, so I'm keeping in this area here for colour, and I'm keeping in this sort of general area for tone. Okay, so we've got a nice bit of variation there, and you can see it looks pretty good close in. This one I'll go across to my pen. I'm going to get rid of my mask now, so I don't need that. And I will change the brush to a more pointy brush. And this is where we're going to get the waves. So I'll bring it right down, give myself a bit more room over here. And we'll start with a multiply brush. So this is darkening my image. I'll get my base texture again and make it a touch darker. Just see what that's going to look like. Bring the strength down. That looks about right. So I'm just going across with some wavy lines. Don't make them too uniform, and it doesn't matter if they touch each other either. You can have wide ones like this and then join them up. Okay, so that's fine. They could have possibly been a bit wider, but that's okay. And I'm going to assume that the light's coming from this direction here. So I need to get my screen brush now, bring it down, and the light's going to hit the top of these sort of waves of sand. So I got this request from Deathtome, who's on my Discord server. I always find it interesting to read out people's usernames. Some of them are quite dramatic. He's making a game at the moment called Sumatras, and it looks kind of a cool 3D sort of Tetris thing. Not sure why he wants sand, but he asked me if I could do sand for a tutorial, and he particularly wanted hand painted. So this one's for you, Deathtome. Okay, so it's sort of working, and you can tidy this up a little bit by where you've got sort of deeper crevices. Go back to your multiply brush and just add a bit of variation. Bigger brush perhaps, and just in those sort of crevices. A little less strength now. Just make the crevices a bit deeper. Remember, it's mainly on one side, so you can see a bit of variation coming through there. You might want to add more variation to the height, so you can go with a very soft brush and then add a sort of wave going across, as if this whole bit is higher than this bit here, so there's a bit of a like a dune sort of thing. And then maybe the screen brush to highlight this dune in the middle. So if we look at our reference images, we're not far off. I would say mine has a bit too sharp a spike. So this white line is too highlighted. So with my screen brush again, let's lower the size and make sure the strength is nice and low, and I can just go next to it, and I could then even out some of these peaks. So just going down next to these, adding a bit of variation, not everywhere. Using the screen and multiply brushes means that I'm still not affecting the noise underneath, because it's just brightening or darkening my pixels. So that's why I did the noise first. I do love doing hand painted work. There's something really relaxing and freeing about it. In fact, there is just generally being creative. That's why I thought I'd take on Deathtome's tutorial request. So I do enjoy it. There we go, not looking too bad. It may be that I've gone too bright, perhaps in some of these areas. Possibly. Difficult to say. If you feel like that, then you can always go to the multiply brush, get the noise back on, start with a low strength, and just add a bit more noise around the place. Remember to change up the colour every now and again. And I'm quite liking that. I still think my peaks are a touch high, possibly. So I might possibly get the multiply brush and just quickly go over them to sort of blend them into each other. And there we go. It's still fairly stylized, I suppose, but I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. So I hope that helps you, Deathtome, and good luck with your game. And I hope you sell a few more mugs, and I hope that's given some other people some handy tips for hand painting. Thanks for watching.